LeBron James at 40, milestone birthday arrives Monday for NBA's all-time scorer. When LeBron James broke another NBA record earlier this month, the one for most regular season minutes played in a career, his Los Angeles Lakers teammates handled the moment in typical locker room fashion. They made fun of him. "They told me I'm old as hell," James quipped. By NBA standards, they're not wrong. He was dubbed the Kid from Akron when the Ohio native entered the league with a limitless future nearly 22 years ago. He's now the 40-year-old from Los Angeles with wisps of gray in his beard. His milestone birthday comes Monday, one that will make him the first player in NBA history to play in his teens, 20s, 30s, and 40s. Such a feat has happened a couple of dozen times in baseball before. It has happened in hockey. Gordie Howe was a 5-decade player, appearing in the NHL from his teens to his 50s, but never in the NFL or the NBA. Until now, James is making more basketball history and creating a club all of his own. In some ways, he's a freak of nature, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said. "I've been around a lot of great players, and he's one of the hardest working players I've been around. I mean, he doesn't take a day off. He seems to not take an afternoon off. He's always working on some part of his body. You meet with him and he's always soaking something or eating something with some contraption attached to him." A 40th birthday in NBA terms means the on-court end is near. James will become the 30th player to appear in a regular season game with a 4 as the first digit of his age. Only 9 logged more than 51 games after that birthday. He'll be the 32nd player to play after turning 40 overall. Tim Duncan and Danny Shays both turned 40 during playoff runs in what became their final seasons. And for the most part, big numbers are largely non-existent at that age. Only Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who did it 3 times, John Stockton, twice, Michael Jordan, Robert Parrish, and Karl Malone have averaged more than 10 points in a season after turning 40. Jordan averaged 22.4 points in 30 games after turning 40 in his final season with Washington. Malone is the most recent to do it, averaging 13.2 points in 42 games after turning 40 while with the Lakers in 2003-04. James, meanwhile, is still putting up all-star level numbers: 23.5 points, 9 assists, and 7.5 rebounds per game. Forget how doing that at 40 is unheard of. Doing that at 30 is practically unheard of. The only players to have those numbers in all 3 categories in a season after turning 30 are James, who did it at 33 and 35, and James Harden, who did it at 31. The size, the strength, and the IQ, with his frame and the way he takes care of himself, he doesn't have to be the best athlete on the planet. At one time he was, Miami Heat coach Eric Spoelstra said, "We're not talking about the best athlete in the association. He was the best athlete on the planet, arguably, just size, strength, agility, explosiveness combined. But at this size, and if he just wants to slow the game down and just play off his brain and IQ, he could do that for another decade. I doubt he'll find interest in that, but he could." Nobody knows when James will stop playing, and it surely isn't going to get any easier. James wanted to play all 82 games this season and couldn't, was widely criticized when the Lakers went through a slump earlier this season and took tons of backlash when his team drafted his son Bronny in the 2nd round last summer in what many thought was simple nepotism. He has always been a lightning rod. If his play declines at 40, his naysayers will be lined up to revel in that. It's a lot harder, physically and emotionally, to face what those guys face night after night after night. Golden State coach Steve Kerr said of top NBA stars getting up in years like James and the Warriors' Stephen Curry, who'll turn 37 in March. There's a reason players have to retire. They can't do it forever. James won't either. But even while playing alongside elite 30-year-olds like Giannis Antetokounmpo, James, who reportedly spends more than $1.5 million annually on his fitness, and has an on-site mechanic of sorts at all times for anything his body needs in personal athletic training guru in Mike Manchis, has shown how to play long past what used to be considered an NBA player's peak years.